a Christmas movie themed around Warhammer.
Gazgo is leading his horde across the snowy peaks.
This is mental.
His adopted father tells him about his real dad who lives in a magical world called Terra.
He just reskinned something without any kind of change at all.
Yeah, that's Hollywood, baby.
Hello everyone and welcome to Paint Perspective episode 82, the Christmas special. Got the whole gang here. We're going to be doing our Warhammer Christmas movie pitches. I'm sure they'll be absolutely ridiculous from certain individuals, not pointing any fingers. We've got a mystery segment and of course we'll be sharing our hobby hacks. Welcome. Whole gang's here.
Well, there was plural on individuals there.
Yeah.
Who else? Because obviously
you.
James. Obviously that was directed at James. Who else was going to be ridiculous?
Because I've never done one yet, so you must be
brace yourselves.
Paul's never done
Brace
one.
yourselves.
And mine, I think, was very good last time.
Well, I'm not going to say who I was thinking
Me
of in
and you
particular.
shared cast members on the last one.
That's true. So
we were on the wavelength to that level.
not to, allude to it too much, but someone did show up with 5 printed pages.
Yeah, we can't be doing that.
Someone.
Well, it's not me.
It's my first time, all right.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. First of all, everyone's all together. That's weird.
Yeah,
it
four of us on here. First
This
time.
small
ever.
set's getting more and more crowded.
Yeah.
It is.
Made it work,
and hotter
though.
and hotter as well.
Yeah, made it work, which is good.
Yeah.
So
How's everyone's pre-Christmas hobby going? So this is coming out for the listeners on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
But for us, it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Yes,
So-
that's right. Yeah.
Who's
the
stoked?
23rd for anyone who doesn't know what
So it's
day that is.
normal.
Do you know what? For the first time in months, yesterday, I had a full day of just painting.
That's
It was
good.
the first time I haven't had, I had nothing to do.
So how much further are you ahead of George of the Army now?
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm further,
Okay.
but if we considered how far I got after one day of painting versus how far George got after one day of painting, I would say pro rata,
Yeah,
I'm probably ahead. If I carry on,
that's fair. That's fair.
I'll have, George will be in my dust.
Does it
before
feel
no
good
time.
to have a whole day hobby?
Yeah, it was weird though, because it was just like I haven't focused on painting for that long at once.
That is going to be my
before.
Boxing
Like,
Day.
obviously, I had breaks. I didn't just sit down for 12 hours.
gonna be your
and
That is
only
going to be
paint.
my Boxing Day. Boxing
You're
Day.
not going
Yeah,
to
well,
squeeze
me
something
too.
on the day.
Me too. So
Boxing Day is going to be a whole day of hobby and lots of food.
I had yesterday.
If only you had a podcast to listen to.
yeah. So while you're listening to this, I'll be painting away. Yeah.
I had yesterday. I've got the hobby hangout tonight, which was earlier this week for the listeners,
yeah.
and then I've got a couple of plans tomorrow evening. Obviously, Christmas Day is Christmas Day, and then I'm Boxing Day. I'm doing nothing again. So
you
I'm
really
free.
have no excuse for not being ahead of George.
I reckon by the time the new year rolls round, I
be
probably
finished.
I might have finished more models this year than George. And I started
I think that should be your
yesterday.
goal for the remainder of the year, to get ahead of George.
What, see if you can paint 7 models in 2
Yeah,
days?
yeah.
High bar I've set for you.
Go into the new year on a good start. you
I
know?
might actually go into 2025 in the lead. I hadn't even thought of that, but probably.
I think that's...
As we've established, my
Sorry,
standards
George.
are
Well,
my standards are way lower, so it's way easier for
well,
me.
I also will be doing some hobbying on Boxing Day and the day after Boxing Day.
Okay, cool.
So
You'll
the
get 2 more arms.
So that'll be a
done,
belt
whatever.
buckle.
Yeah. Just get one put together, won't you, by then? Another one.
One?
Yeah.
That's ambitious. Can't get a sub-assembly in there.
Some assemblies.
Remember, he's not using the power tools for the drill. He's got to
No.
drill them out. Oh, by the way, can we talk about that?
We can talk about that. I already know what you're going to say.
The clip that went up, there's a short on YouTube and it went on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, of like just a little speed run video of
Heavy metal model.
George painting an heavy metal style, heavy metal quality.
All I'm going to say...
Marine.
All I'm going to say is thank you to everybody who commented on that video.
Everyone-
That's all I'm going to say.
Everyone immediately flagged that it was George because he uses the squeaky pin vise.
Yeah, well...
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I was going to comment.
Not only comments, I've had so many DMs from people
Honestly,
specifically
so funny.
saying, "Oh, I knew that was you because of the pin vise."
So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit behind the scenes. I did just for myself because it makes me happy. I did actually boost the audio for the squeak.
Of the squeak.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say, I tried to remove it, but I just couldn't get it.
I could have removed it, but I took the creative choice to instead amplify.
Yeah.
No one would have known. But
The most annoying ASMR ever. Just a squeaky
Just
little pin
squeaky
vise.
pin vise
Yeah.
in your ears, like nails down a chalkboard.
you might have noticed that we're wearing some very similar attire this week. It's sort of like
Uniform.
Minions sort of vibes, you know?
Yeah.
Just not bright yellow or blue.
Yeah.
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 That's exactly what we were going for.
So I guess this is the announcement that the first official Paint Perspective merch drop has arrived.
Yep.
It's on screen for you now. This is going to be a limited run pre-order. If you're watching this episode, it's on pre-order now. How long is the pre-order going to run for?
2 weeks, I think we said.
2 weeks?
Yeah, that's
So
2 weeks.
if you're watching after that, sorry.
If you're watching after that, probably the pre-order's gone so well that we've got 15 other bits of merch for you to go and look at by now. So still go over to the store if you're watching this in like a year. There might be something else, but
Yeah.
for the up-to-date people, you've got 2 weeks to pre-order
So
it.
the idea of this was, you hear us all the time, especially if you're an avid listener of the podcast. We're always talking about like metal bands and stuff we like in the music scene and whatnot. So we thought it'd be cool to do something inspired by that.
Well, it's got a bit of history, this as well. It has got a little bit of history, this merch design and hoodie. So back in the day when I was in bands, there was a band which I was a huge fan of, like called Eternal Lord, who were like one of my favourite metalcore / deathcore. I don't know what I'd probably say they're like more deathcore than metalcore, but back in the day, I played a lot of shows with Eternal Lord, really good friends with like Sam and the rest of the guys from Eternal Lord, and we kind of kept in contact. Sam went on to become this prolific tattoo artist. He's an amazing tattooist. And we just kind of kept in touch. I've been tattooed by him a little bit. A load of my friends have been tattooed by him. So we kind of kept sort of like passing ships, etc., if that makes sense, that kind of thing. And then lo and behold, he got like into Warhammer. Like he was in he used to do Warhammer in his childhood, obviously fell out of it, got into metal, same as sort of me. Then kind of like randomly slid into my DMs later on in life, basically going, oh my God, you're into like Warhammer and like obviously Siege and all this kind of stuff. So sort of picked up the baton from there. And then when it came to thinking about designing merch, I couldn't think of anyone better than Sam, really, because he's super into like almost like
the dungeon simp.
That's it.
Stuff.
Yeah. So he's super into like sort of like really sort of like dark, sort of like evil kind of like sort of music from like kind
The
of
sort
like
of stuff
D&D.
you want to put on when you're playing D&D or Warhammer.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Kind of when
that.
you had the old LPs and you played them backwards.
That sounds like a dark ritual. doesn't it? That sounds like a dark ritual, boy. Like, you got something we should know about.
Just reminds me of Little Nicky. I don't know if you've seen Little Nicky when they do it.
Yeah. So got in touch with Sam about it. Obviously, we were talking and just catching up about Warhammer and stuff, and then said, look, we need a merch design, and Sam stepped up to the plate and absolutely smashed it. So yeah, huge thank you. If you don't know of Sam or his tattooing, then we'll put a link on the screen now. Sorry, George, not sorry. And yeah,
We'll put an elaborate animation up
Yeah.
on the screen
All
now that
hand-drawn.
George can make.
All hand drawn.
yeah. But yeah, just want to say a huge thank you to Sam for doing the design for us and for sort of like reconnecting and getting back in touch after all these years. It's really weird to think of like of the guy who was like fronted one of my favorite bands from back in the day in sort of like 2006 is like now doing merch design.
Yeah, it's like a cool full circle type thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah,
And the listeners can own a piece of that.
Wow.
How
Yeah.
good
Oh.
is that?
yeah,
It's got
a 6 story. So yeah, no, awesome. But
And it just looks cool.
yeah, it's rad. Yeah.
Like, I've just been wearing it around. No one
Not
knows,
biased.
no one knows I'm wearing my own podcast hoodie. They just think, oh, I haven't heard of whatever that band is before.
Yeah.
That's the best merch, is when it's just stuff you want to wear and you don't have to know what it is. It's not just a big Warhammer logo. It's not just a big Paint Perspective like podcast mic.
Yeah, you have to sort of have a little inspect. Oh, that looks cool.
If
What's
you
that?
know,
Yeah.
you know. That's basically.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, is that like a band? What band is that? Oh, it's this cool Warhammer podcast. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't have heard of them. They're quite.
You might have to
quite
also
underground.
buy 2 because everyone knows that partners generally pinch the other one.
Especially
So-
hoodies.
Yeah,
especially
especially
hoodies.
hoodies,
Yeah.
so-
And when they feel how soft this is,
Yeah.
they're going to want a
Yeah.
piece of it. So
Yeah.
maybe double up.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is it's made by us as well. Like, I think it's the thing we talk about all our merch here at Siege, and also obviously with what we want to do with this, like we it's not like print on demand or anything like that. It's
Paul,
like,
Paul is packing them. I've watched him do it.
Yeah.
Paul right there.
I'm printing them on demand.
If you order a hoodie, Paul will have probably touched it at some point.
I would have touched it.
There you go.
Nice.
You don't have to make it weird.
If you want to get yours, link in the description. It's going to be a limited pre-order run, and then once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
So if
Forever.
you want to get yours,
Yeah, ain't coming back, so got to get it now.
yeah. Speaking of stuff that's in 2 weeks,
2 weeks adjacent. Yeah.
2 weeks related, A bit of an announcement for 2025 with the podcast. We are moving episodes to Monday. So
Monday.
don't panic when there's no podcast Thursday next week. It is instead being moved to Monday. So going forward, podcasts on Mondays. Monday's a great day for a podcast.
Yeah,
Who's
exactly.
want a podcast
Fired
on Monday?
up.
Yeah.
New week, new show.
Yeah. So
You're
first,
miserable. You've gone to work. You've got your commute. You're miserable. No one likes Mondays.
exactly.
Bam, paint perspective.
So January 6th
Yeah.
is the first, is when the next episode comes out, basically.
Yeah.
And that'll be the first one. And then it'll be Mondays every week from there.
From there.
Yeah.
So it's like and Thursday we're missing.
Yeah.
Just to catch up.
Everything else is the same.
Everything's
You
the
get
same
your-
except the first couple of letters.
You get your audio earlier. I don't know if everyone knows that for the YouTube viewers. You can listen to it like from the morning, even though the videos go up at like 12.
8 a.m. All major podcast platforms.
Yeah.
Search us up.
And then the video will come about 12. You can still get all your extended stuff on Patreon and all of that. Everything else stays the same. It's just Monday instead of Thursday. That's about it, I think.
Yeah. Just helps us with
The
delivering
scheduling.
these episodes.
Yeah.
Much fun as I have editing these in a very short time frame.
Yeah.
It helps me out a bit.
I wanted to make it short. I wanted to bring them closer so that George had less time to do it.
with more
Yeah.
things on the wall.
Yeah,
think
yeah. And
that's-
apparently
yeah,
that
good
wasn't
idea.
appropriate, so we've let him have more time.
But that's how you get those cool, complex animations that we spoke about.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Oh, I'm expecting
60 frames a
full
second.
Oh, there will be.
animation.
Yeah.
3D.
Just for
like-
you. Just for you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to make that happen.
Yeah. I'm actually a little bit worried at the prospect of you being able to do that now. Yeah.
Okay. So James has made me put a mystery segment in this week's episode for unknown reasons. I don't know what the mystery segment is. So, James, what is the mystery segment?
Can we be honest about that, whether you know what it is or not?
Well, I didn't know what it was until last night
Yeah.
when James let it
Well,
slip in a group chat that
so
he didn't
you
realise
know-
I was in.
Yeah. I wanted some feedback on something, and I just
This has
conveniently put it.
been weeks of James keeping this secret.
Hang
only
on,
to
no,
let it slip
let's
in the
not,
group
let's not,
chat.
let's not,
Careless talk costs lives, James.
let's not deceive the listeners or viewers. Okay, this is a last minute attempt at doing something nice at the end of the year from me.
I still have no idea.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Joe
not
has
in
no
the group
idea.
chat,
Paul has
so-
no idea. You don't have an idea about your one.
I've
So-
sussed,
so-
I've sussed most of it.
no, I don't think you have.
Once we've seen it, then we'll hear what George
Knows
about it.
what George
Yeah.
knew,
So basically, we were all really crap and didn't do a Secret Santa until like the other day when we were talking about potentially doing one.
Yeah, Paul just like suggested. Paul heard us talking and then just shouted it from the other room, and we all kind of looked at each other like, "Yeah, we
Why
should
did
have
we
done
do
that,
that?
shouldn't
Yeah.
we?"
Yeah, unbeknown to all three of you, I already had plans for this episode to do something. So lucky
Can I
that
try-
one of us came through.
Can I chime in? Do you know what we should do next year? for
Secret Santa?
We have to do Secret Santa, but you have to get when you've got your person, you have to get a hobby-related item for them that you know that they will hate.
Well, I'll be getting you an electric drill.
Advice, he'd get me an electric drill. You know.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even need to. We can just do it now. Don't even need to wait. The pin vice will go in the bin. I'm telling you that for a fact. So I'm just going to caveat this. I did not have time to wrap the presents. Okay,
Brilliant.
So I conveniently used some project trays, but anyway.
That's where they've gone.
Oh, for me?
I did, however, write the names on. So at
Can
least
I invert this tray?
yes, you can.
Okay, so I can show. This is amazing wrapping.
You
James.
can't invert your
Wow.
tray. Yeah,
I can't.
You can't invert your tray.
For me, it's the fact that you didn't even choose different colours for our names.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Just be assured that mine says Joe on the top of it.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to show you
Yeah.
it.
So I think
Excellent.
we go in the order we go in is we do George first,
Yeah.
then Paul, then Joe.
I don't like that.
Obviously, save the best till last, right?
Yeah.
That's what
Well, I
do.
don't know. It's you'll see. You'll see.
Right.
Right, okay. Oh.
It's like a game
just
show.
that smashes.
Oh.
Didn't take the price off.
Now we can see what we're worth.
For the audio listeners, it is the Chaos Sorcerer Lord.
Oh,
My
that's
favourite
good.
model
That's
of
the
this
one you
year.
wanted. Yeah.
That's
That's
good.
sick.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something like the other? Oh, I was in a shop or something, or I was ordering something from a shop, and I was like, "Oh, they've got that sorcerer if you want it." And George was like, "Oh, I should probably just wait until I see it in a store."
Oh
or
no,
something like
no.
that. So
I
Is
went
that
for-
because he?
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, James.
That's all right.
So that's that for the audio listeners. Chaos Sorcerer Lord was my favourite model from this year. We spoke about it on the previous episode. I hadn't picked it up yet. Been busy. But now I've got something to paint over Christmas.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not your army, thank God.
Yeah. Joe
You're
moves
welcome,
one
Joe.
closer step
You're
ahead.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Paul, you've made some really great progress this year with your painting.
And that's true.
Yeah, like you have really progressed this year with your painting, like massively.
Yeah.
And it's been an absolute pleasure and joy to see all the stuff you've been absorbing and learning from the stuff you see every day at work, and also
I can feel myself going a bit red.
Just the stuff you've been doing yourself. So
I'm very thankful that Paul isn't in the army challenge. Otherwise, either of us
I'd
would
have
be
to spend
completely
actual
out of the
money.
question.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. So I wanted to get you something that kind of like solidifies the right choice that you've made this year.
It better be a Cities of Sigmar model, I'll tell you now.
No, it's not.
Okay. So I'm just going to open this here with
Yeah.
Oh, I was actually looking at this the other day.
We still haven't seen it.
And
yet.
I
don't know what it is.
I was thinking about the other characters that I have.
It's almost like you mentioned you
Can
like
this
that,
one be
like,
tilted and shown up?
Yeah,
to
it
the
can be
camera?
tilted.
I can now. Look. So
Right, reveal it again.
ready? Is it? am
Yeah,
I-
Oh, okay, I'll allow that one. That is the
Right,
coolest
okay.
Blood
Yeah.
Angels
Yes.
model to be
That-
fair.
Yeah.
The Blood Angels Lamartis.
I knew that you liked that one.
Yes.
So
That's wicked. Thank
so
you very
yeah,
much.
that's all right.
I
That's
shall
okay.
enjoy that. I'll have to learn to do some marble now. That'll be the next challenge.
there you go.
I'll get the wet wipes out.
Always pushing your painting.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Mr. J.
It's made me nervous that the presents have actually been good. I feel like if they were jokey presents, it'd be easier to react to.
See, it was really difficult actually trying to pick something for you because I was like, how can I, yeah, don't shake it. How can I help you, but also screw George over?
Right.
So from conversations, I discovered there was a bit of a gap in your army. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I decided to fill that gap for you.
Okay.
All yours. Take it away.
Jesus. That is extremely cool. Can I hold that?
Yeah, yeah.
Can they see?
Vaguely. I'll probably.
I couldn't. I see. The
Pictures
thing
or
is,
something?
so we had a conversation about you not having an Asmodee model.
Yeah.
So I made you an Asmodee.
That is
Nice.
incredible. And because Asmodee, out of all the new ones that they brought out, was the one I wasn't as keen on.
Right.
The new model that
You
they
didn't like the
gave.
design of it so much.
Not as much as the
Hashtag no
others,
smoke. But he's got a donker. He's got a donker.
Yeah, I appreciate the
mace.
donker. Mate, that is
Yeah.
that is unbelievable. Thank you very
all
much.
good.
That is
That's wicked.
really cool.
So for just to backtrack a little bit. So James last night in our group chat went, so I'm doing Secret Santa at work. Do you think Joe will like this? And then put a photo of that in the group chat.
totally forgot. I put it in. So I've got a group.
Well, at least I'm not in it.
Because also we didn't know we was doing Secret Santa.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Yeah. So I had to basically step up and do it for everybody. So
Mate, this is amazing. Thank you very
it's
much.
all good, mate. All
Thank
good.
you.
I will green
God,
stuff.
I've got the pressure on to paint some stuff next year. I've got
Yeah.
this. I've got the mystery handmaiden of the Ever Queen present. I've got to paint. The pressure is
Please keep sending Joe models, everyone.
the
Do me a
pressure is
favour.
honestly like
Slowing
rising.
down.
That's very cool. Thank you very much.
It's all good, mate. All good.
Really appreciate that.
All good.
It's the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
nice? So the main topic this week is, of course, our Warhammer Christmas movies. We did a pitching a Warhammer style movie episode before, which was hilarious. So
Ages ago.
go
now.
back and listen to that if you want.
Yeah.
It was a little while ago.
I think there's actually a clip.
yes,
It's got separated as a clip on the YouTube channel.
yeah. I'll link that below. So I thought, in the spirit of Christmas, we should pitch a Christmas movie themed around Warhammer. So I've asked everyone this weekend to come up with, there's several questions. We'll go through them one by one. Basically, everyone one by one is going to come up with their pitch for a Warhammer Christmas movie. And then afterwards, we'll have the floor to rip to shreds as is standard for this podcast. I think that seems fair.
Yeah.
Wouldn't let anyone get away with a good movie.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
so
Well, I mean, I will get away with good. But
other than Joe. Paul, as you
Yes.
was not on that last episode,
No, I
I
wasn't.
think it'd be nice
No.
to kick it over to you.
Yeah.
I noticed that you came prepared with
5
several
pages.
pages.
a full script.
5
I've got-
pages.
I've got quite a few.
Paul
So-
wrote a movie.
I've got a whole. There's a whole.
Paul's got a whole
scripted trailer
screenplay.
and all sorts of stuff. So
I don't know if we'll have time to do the whole thing. So maybe in
No.
the Patreon post show at
We'll
the
talk
end,
about it more.
yeah.
we can have you read the whole thing because I think everyone would love to hear that.
Yeah.
So I obviously I've written I've got a synopsis, and then perhaps afterwards.
Could you just hold up the stack of papers?
Well,
That's
it's
hilarious.
only 5 pages.
It's only 5 pages.
It's only 5 pages. I think there's
Front and back.
a synopsis.
It's not.
There's a character sheet.
Sans font 10.
There's a slightly longer synopsis, and then there's a trailer. I've written the
Beautiful,
you
beautiful,
wanted a
Paul. I
trailer,
love this.
so
What I love
let's
about
get-
Paul. If I tell him to prepare a topic, he
Yeah,
prepares a topic.
Amazon, eat your heart out.
Yeah, if Henry Cavill is listening,
well,
feel free to get in touch about any of these. Paul
yeah,
has a
maybe.
script.
Maybe. Okay, so Christmas movies. Okay, what do they mean to you? Perhaps Die Hard. That's a Christmas movie. There's loads of other Home Alone, all those kind of things. And I thought,
All your classics.
All your
Home Alone and
classics.
Die Hard. No others.
I mean, to be fair,
mix the two. That's the only two I know. And I thought, well, those guys are all going to pick those kinds of movies. They're just going to go straight for the classics, right? So I thought, what was Christmas mean to me when I was growing up? I think it was, about 1984, 1986, when I was a kid, growing up, still young. Gremlins. Gremlins. That's a
I
Christmas
forget
movie.
Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
is
in
the
a way.
first one a Christmas movie or is
Yes.
it the second one?
No,
The first
one is a Christmas movie. I know at the time they tried to get the Christmas scenes all cut out of the movie, but
yeah.
they fought tooth and nail to keep them in. So technically, it is a
Technically,
Christmas
It
movie.
is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Come on. Come on, hit us with
That
it.
is brilliant.
That's a good pick. I'm already impressed.
yeah, my synopsis. So I'm just going to read this straight from the sheet. Okay.
Yeah.
In the grim dark future, in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there is only war, and one very bad decision. Petrus Scarilius, a low-ranking administratum clerk living in a suffocating hive city, dreams of escaping his monotony of his life. When a mysterious package arrives from his eccentric rogue trader uncle, Petrus is introduced to an odd but strangely adorable Xenos creature known as a grotling familiar. Right? See where this is going? The accompanying instructions seem simple enough. Don't expose it to warp-tainted light. Don't feed it Grok's meat after midnight. And never, ever let it near anything chaos-tainted. Of course, everything goes horribly wrong after a late-night snack. The grotling transforms into a swarm of mischievous heretical chaos grots, wreaking havoc across the hive city. These pint-sized terrors are destructive. They are as destructive as they are ridiculous. Building crude, warp-powered machines, summoning minor demonic incursions and turning the hive into their playground. Their chaos attracts the attention of Inquisitor Valeria, a ruthless Ordo-Xenos operative who declares the city on the verge of heresy and prepares to cleanse it with fire and bolter. Okay, so far.
Who's
so
playing?
far.
Is that the synopsis or who?
No. There's a bit more.
Does this happen over? What's Christmas? Is it
Sanguinala. Sanguinala.
Is it snowing or?
Sanguinala.
No. It is Grimmas.
Okay.
Grimmas. Okay,
Fair.
right. To stop the grots before the Inquisition declares exterminators, Petrus teams up with an unlikely band of allies. Jarek Vargos, a no-nonsense Acadian guardsman with more brawn than patience. Sister Adelasia, a devout and fiery sister of battle who'd rather burn everything to ash than compromise. And Amagos Corinthia, an eccentric tech priest whose obsession with ancient imperial relics may hold the key to saving the city or dooming it further. Mm-hmm. So there's a bit more.
Who's playing these characters?
Who's playing who? Yeah, let's go into
we'll
it.
skip.
There's plenty more to get into. We'll do that in the
we'll go into it
Patreon
detail.
post show.
Okay,
because
so-
this is mental.
All right.
Yeah.
Petrus Scarilius is played by Simon Pegg.
I don't know who I was expecting.
Okay, he's a comedy guy, so I think he fits well with the kind of the nephew of you think back to the Gremlins movie, like the nephew who's a bit, Simon Pegg.
How old is the nephew supposed to be in this?
Well, I think in the movie he's
quite young,
he's
isn't he?
still at school. He's at high school or
Yeah,
something.
so
isn't he?
Simon Pegg's about 50.
So yeah, but if you think back to his,
Can we do no CGI de-aging? You know when you see
Yeah, yeah,
you know when you see
yeah.
like high schoolers and they're like 29.
There's a
that.
film. There's a Wet Hot American Summer film. It used to be a TV show, and the joke that they did, the film happened years and years later. It was like 20 years later, and one of the running jokes in the film is they just dressed all the same actors up the exact same, even though they're like 40 now.
Yeah.
Because it's like a spoof comedy, like sketch comedy type film. So I think we do that. We
Yeah.
just dress Simon Pegg up
Plus,
like
as a
teenager.
child.
That's it.
Yeah.
I would have thought Life in the Hive is pretty tough.
Teenagers probably do look like that.
So they probably do, yeah. It's
probably.
like medieval
You know,
times, isn't it?
what's the? Oh, sorry to try off. What's the? Is it Harry Enfield who plays the teenager?
Yeah, Kevin and Perry.
Kevin and Perry. it's like Kevin and Perry.
Okay, Inquisitor Valeria is played by Kate Blanchett because she's quite cold and and that
I
sort
can
of
see
thing.
that.
So,
Yeah, I can see that.
the guardsman, the Cadian guardsman, also known as Brick. So I've got Dave Bautista playing him.
Jesus, it's the biggest guardsman, going.
Can you imagine this? It's just the look at this group. The Mados explorer Corinthia, also known as Cogs, were played by Tilda Swindon. She's because eccentricity.
Yeah, that
works.
That works.
And the sister Adelicia, the Order of the Ardent Shroud, played by Charlize Theron.
I mean, fair.
you
Another
know,
good one.
Yeah, I can see that.
These are all solid. Other than Simon Pegg.
Okay, and
They're all nailed
a couple of characters I didn't get to because my synopsis was too long.
Yeah.
We've got Gorkzillus, the Despoiler, who's a like the leader of all these kind of the Gremlins, voiced by Taika Waititi. What was it?
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Taika Waititi. So he's voiced by him, and I've got the Rogue Trader, who's the uncle of Simon Pegg, being played by and voiced by Jeff Goldblum.
Okay, fair.
That's good.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Jeff Goldblum's got. I would have put Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff
in if I thought
Goldblum.
about
Jeff
that.
should be in every film ever because he's great.
Yeah, that's a good
Everyone
one.
loves Jeff Goldblum. He's brilliant.
Yeah,
So,
I mean that's solid.
I mean, that's already way more than I've done. I'll put that out there. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest though.
I tried to do the Ribena approach and keep it really strong with minimal. That's what I tried to do.
The Ryber.
He keeps on saying this. Stop trying to make fetch happen.
Right.
You're
Who's
going,
next? Me?
Do you want me? I'll go.
That's a tough act to follow. Paul took that very seriously. You know what, Paul? You
were like,
delivered.
yeah.
there's
Well
so
done.
much more. I've got. I mean, there's.
I can't wait to get
so
into
much
that.
more
I can't
content.
wait to
Don't
get to
say
that
more.
later.
Amazon might be watching. Right?
Yeah. Once you put it out
Copyright
there, they
issues.
can just take it.
Yeah.
They probably own Gremlins by now. I don't know, but they probably do. They
Henry,
could probably-
emails in the description.
Yeah.
Hit us up. Do you want to get even more from these podcast episodes? Patreon is the place to get exclusive Paint Perspective content every single week, including extended versions of the podcast featuring bonus segments you won't see anywhere else. Plus, as a member, you'll get exclusive Discord access, including monthly hobby hangouts with us, opportunities to ask your questions on upcoming shows, plus all of our podcast content completely ad-free. To learn more, head to the link in this episode's description or go to patreon.com/Siege Studios. It's a tough act to follow.
I'll go. I'll follow it. I've got something.
Go on, James.
Cool.
Go on then.
So I'm a big fan of Armageddon. All right, as in the narrative of Armageddon. Always loved
I thought
it.
you meant the film. Sorry, I was like, that Christmas
Bruce,
What with the asteroid?
Bruce Willis. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. Merry Christmas. My film is set on Armageddon in winter. Okay. It stars 3 protagonists. All right. I know last time I went a bit crazy. Had quite a few, but I thought I would go really sort of like just 3 main protagonists. There's going to be other sort of like
Is Frankie Boyle making his
no,
return?
he's
by
not.
any
He's not
chance?
making. He's not making a debut in this film. Unfortunately, he didn't make the cut. But we have 3 40k characters, main characters. We have Sly Marbo. Okay. We have Gazgol, Mag, Uruk, Thraka, and Macquarie. So they're the 3 characters in this film.
Right.
Okay.
Where, other than it being cold, not sure where the Christmas
Where's
theme
the
comes
Christmas
in yet.
element?
Oh, it's happening during Sanguinala. There we go.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
so far, I think mine's the most Christmassy. I'll tell you that much.
Well,
I'm
we'll
gonna-
see in a
Cool.
minute, Joe. We'll see in a minute.
So the setting. Gazgol is leading his horde, his war across the snowy peaks of Armageddon.
Stop trying to Christmas it up.
I'm
That was not in the original script.
I'm adding the Christmas.
He's got baubles on.
Yeah, he's added bells to his ship.
Unknown. He's got some baubles hanging off of his armour. A bit of tinsel. Unbeknown to him, he's been stalked. The war is being stalked by Sly Marbo, who detonates a cliff face, and it flattens the whole entire horde, apart from Macquarie and Magog Thraka. Okay? Gazgol composes himself, struggling through the snow, okay, to find this base that's lit up, okay? sees this lovely base that's all lit up.
Is it made of gingerbread?
It's not made of
Lit up
gingerbread.
with
no.
Christmas lights, I assume.
Yeah, with loads of lights. I mean, they
Yeah.
could be Christmas lights. Yeah. Okay, could be.
I'm
Could
helping
be.
you out.
I
Yeah,
know,
come on.
cheers. That you can kind of help me out a little bit because, like,
Yeah.
in return for the, no one got me anything, so just help
Yeah,
me out.
yeah,
You want
this
to
is
chuck
your
stuff
gift.
in?
This is your
Yeah, chuck
gift
stuff
from
in,
me.
it's fine. So he sees this base and he's like, right, well, I've lost all my boys. I'm gonna take it myself. Okay, I'm gonna break in. Unbeknown to him, this is where Marbo has been hiding. This is his base of operations. Okay. But Marbo, being prepared as always, has set loads of traps all over the base. By the way, if you can't tell, this is a Home Alone spoof. Now it's the time to realise it is. It's basically,
Thanks, James.
it's basically Home Alone with Marbo
And Gascal.
and Gazgol Macquarie. Now, who's playing who? We'll start with my favourite. Macquarie is being played by the one and only Danny DeVito.
Okay.
Now, what other actor has Danny DeVito played with
Arnold
that's
Salt and Pepper. Yeah.
Gazgol is portrayed by none other than the muscles from Argentina? Argentina? No, Austria.
Argentina.
Austria. The Austrian muscle that is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, if we're making this film now, he's about, what, 70, 75?
Oh, that's
something
fine.
like
They
that?
both
Yeah.
are.
That's fine.
They both.
Yeah, but Danny DeVito looked 75 in the 80s.
True. Just
So it's
true.
fine.
Look
That's
down,
fine.
Yeah.
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 And then we have the one and only Sly Marbo. Now, I really struggled with this choice because there were lots of people that came to mind, and I could go one way, which would be really, really funny, and I could go one way, which the character or the actor playing him would make sense because of the character that he is or the person that he is. So I went with funny. So I had Sly Marbo being played by Ryan Reynolds.
Of course. The people's choice.
I think we've had some return actors from
Some
our
return
original
actors?
scripts.
Was
I
there?
don't think
think-
Danny DeVito was there. Ryan Reynolds definitely was.
No, he wasn't, was he?
Oh no, we have Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling.
There's a
We
big
both-
difference between those two
We
actors.
both
Yeah.
had Ryan Gosling in our
But
ones.
I was going to have Sly Marbo played by Chuck Norris because I thought it would fit really well. But no, I went.
the most geriatric Home Alone ever.
yeah,
You're going to
but-
do the whole thing with the cans of paint and the marbles and the micro machines.
I mean,
That would be quite.
not really. It's 40k, but
Yeah, but
I
how's
don't
it
know.
Home Alone then?
oh, he breaks into the base, tries to break into the base and steal stuff, loot stuff, and you got Ryan Reynolds just chucking like barrels at him and stuff like that. I don't know.
Right.
So it's more Donkey Kong than
Yeah,
it
more
is Home Alone.
yeah. Look, okay, I didn't write 5 pages. All right, okay, so
This is screaming, I forgot I had a homework assignment due tomorrow.
The dog ate it?
Well,
sorry, not sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, James, you went for Home Alone. I also have gone for a classic Christmas movie.
How classic
Everyone
we're
was
I was
talking.
going to say Die Hard, and let's
Yeah,
be
I was
honest.
gonna-
All will be revealed what my movie is during the pitch,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
It's the best. I'll
Come on then.
let it
Yeah.
find you.
Come on then.
Okay. So mine is set in 30K. That's important for
Context.
context.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But it's still Warhammer, you know?
yeah.
So, we meet our hero on a lovely planet of elves, space elves, obviously,
Eldar.
free of war and suffering, where they worship the god of Christmas. Not that one, Santa. But he realizes that he's bigger than all of the other elves. He doesn't fit in, so he discovers that he was actually adopted. His adopted father tells him about his real dad who lives in a magical world called Terra, and he works at the biggest building in the city, the Sanctum Imperialis. But unfortunately, he's on the naughty list.
Oh, no.
So you might have worked out by now.
Yes.
that this
It's
is,
elf,
of course,
yes.
elf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'll introduce this as saying, I'm keeping all of the original elf cast. It's perfect. So just imagine Will Ferrell as the Lost Primarch of, was it Second Legion?
Second or 11th.
We'll go with second. So it's full Will Ferrell, you know, but Space Marine.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd quite like to see
Is
that,
that it?
actually.
Oh, no, we'll keep going. We'll keep going.
Is that what you got?
So he goes to the mystical land of Terra to meet his real dad, the Emperor of Mankind. Cue our montage of our fish out of water Primarch on Terra, wandering the Imperial Palace, trying to spread love and joy to traumatized civilians and guardsmen. When he meets his dad on the golden throne, he's not best pleased and wants nothing to do with him because he's supposed to be dead, right? So the Emperor orders Malkador the Sigillite to do a DNA test. But Big E, he is your son. The Emperor tries to take Buddy under his wing, but all he keeps doing is spreading love and joy to his armies. He's not too happy with this and says he wants nothing to do with his son. Fast forward a bit, and Santa crashes through the warp because there's not enough Christmas spirit to keep the engines running, and Buddy needs to save him by spreading Christmas cheer and singing loud for all to hear. But this is Warhammer, so the Emperor executes them both where they stand and orders exterminatus to all who worship Christmas across the galaxy, and cue a massive crusade to go and destroy all of the elves because it's Warhammer.
I'd watch it.
I would.
Yeah, I don't really like Elf that much.
Yeah,
You don't like Elf?
Yeah,
no,
I'm with you on that, Joe. I'm not a big
That's
fan.
a very
George
Gen Z classic.
Who's the
Christmas
love interest? Because
film.
in the movie Elf, there's a love interest, isn't there? There's like he meets a young
Zoe
girl.
Deschanel, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's
Meets a
that?
young girl.
I'll throw her in there. I'll
Just
give the
throw her
original
in there.
cast.
Oh,
It's
so
perfect
it's just
cast.
going to be Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah, but she can be like...
I'm sorry, hang on. I got stick for it being like a school homework. He's literally just reskinned the film.
Yeah.
I
That's
just
true.
need the
She's a
assignment.
little bit
I
lazy.
said
No,
the
hang
rules.
on, hang
I said the
on a
rules.
sec.
You know how this works.
Hang on a sec. Mine is like a AAA film compared to that. It's literally just a reskin.
Yeah, well,
Paid 10 quid for that reskin. That's
look,
like a
they all look
season
like
pass
reskins
job.
compared to Paul's original pitch with full scripts, to be fair. I mean, no, it's good. It's good. It fits.
I'd watch it.
It fits. I think...
I wouldn't buy the DVD.
It'd make a very good... I'm trying to
That's
think
straight
who
to
else,
DVD, isn't it?
so who else is in...
Straight to DVD.
Who else is in Elf? Who else is in... So it's obviously Will Ferrell.
Yeah. So it's his dad's going to be played by James Caan. I'm keeping the original cast.
Why
Zoe
not? Why
Deschanel,
couldn't it-
obviously.
why couldn't it
John
be-
Favreau, he's in there.
Why couldn't it
we'll
be-
throw him in as like
He directed it, didn't he?
Oh, and the best part, Peter Dinklage.
Is he in Elf?
Of course he is. Well, that's sort of the joke, isn't it? He's like one of the...
Oh, is he
he's the
what-
writer. An elf buddy thinks he's an elf because he's...
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
these two IPs should
It's
never,
been a while since I
never-
watched
they
it.
should-
to be fair.
I
Maybe
never-
I should rewatch it. I was being harsh on it, potentially.
They should never
But-
have been joined together, those two IPs. Just saying.
Weird to think that Elf kind of leads to like... Because that was John Favreau directed it. It was his first big actual mainstream success of a film that he directed. Like big returns
Well,
and
he'll
stuff.
be Malkador because his cameo in Elf is the Doctor. So
Right.
he would be Malkador the Sigillite.
Okay, well, I was going to say, it's weird. It's just weird that Elf, of all things, pretty much leads to him then doing the Marvel stuff. And then
Yeah.
we get Iron Man and we get all this other stuff, which is kind of crazy. I have faith in John Favreau being able to direct Warhammer Elf. I'm sure that'd be
Is that the
fine.
name? Warhammer Elf?
I don't know what you're going to call it.
Elf
It's a working
30K.
title.
Does everyone else have names, by the way?
Well,
I've got a name for
I think-
mine.
Hang on.
well-
If I'm doing the reskin, I'll just call it Eldari.
Eld.
Yeah.
If you're a miniature painter, you'll know how important it is to have the right tools for the hobby, but it doesn't matter what brushes or paints you have if you can't see what you're doing in the first place. If you want to improve your painting, contorting yourself under a small, repurposed lamp from around the house, giving yourself a backache and straining your eyes just isn't going to cut it. That's why one of the biggest upgrades I've ever made to my painting setup was my Onyx painting lamp from Native Lighting. Its articulating arm allows me to sit in the perfect painting position for those long hobby sessions, and its super bright 2200 lumen, dimmable LEDs cast soft and diffused light on my models without any harsh shadows. As someone with a very small hobby space, by far my favourite feature is its adjustable mounting clamp, which attaches to the side of my desk, maximising my free workspace. And its daylight colour balance temperature of 6500K gives you the confidence that colours you are painting are accurate and your miniatures will pop on the tabletop. To upgrade your setup to the equipment we rely on here at Siege Studios, head to the link in this episode's description or go to siegestudios.co.uk/shop.
Should we go for mine then?
Yeah, we can
let's
do
do
yours.
it.
Well, all cards on the table. Mine is a Home Alone influence as well. And
Paul was
It's a
right.
classic
Everyone
movie.
was going to go for the classics.
when he
it's a good
said
movie.
when he said Die Hard and Home Alone, me and James both went like this, and I was hoping, knowing James, that he was doing it because of Die Hard, but he
Yes.
wasn't. He
I was
doing
very
it 'cause
close.
of
I'm
very
sad
I
close.
would
no
say
one's picked
mine's
Die Hard,
different
actually.
enough.
Well, Joe,
Mine-
now's your chance. You can
I'd say
reskin Die
mine's-
Hard.
I didn't do Die Hard because it seemed too obvious.
Yeah, well, Home Alone's pretty obvious as well. So
Is yours Home Alone 2?
no,
Quick,
no.
Joe. Now it's a
Trying to
chance
throw
to
you a
change
lifeline.
it.
Just Home Alone. Well, they're both the same film. Talking of reskinning, Home Alone 2 is just a reskin of Home Alone anyway. Anyway, so what I'm setting out, I've gone for a different approach though. So the idea with this film's called The Emperor's Gift.
Oh, okay. I like that.
And the whole point of this is that it is the Sanguinala. It is Christmas. There's big events happening on Terra. Everyone's going to come together and celebrate Sanguinala. And in doing this, Inquisitor Eisenhorn is going to be making an appearance with a specific relic, which he's going to be carrying from a separate planet over to Terra to present as a shrine for the people to come and witness. A relic that has been blessed by the Emperor. Okay, so everyone wants to come and do
Why,
this.
why wouldn't you miss it? Like, yeah,
Exactly, everyone wants to come and visit. He goes along with his assistant, I guess, to go and pick up the relic. They don't need the two of them; they're fine. They go and pick up the relic, but due to some Zinchian shenanigans, one thing leads to another. The assistant is left on the planet with the relic. Eisenhorn is shifted all the way to Terra empty-handed. And just as this happens, Araman arrives
Okay.
on the planet, also trying to claim the relic. Now, we have this situation where we have this a commissar. Let's say he would have taken a commissar with him, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Eisenhorn.
yeah.
Why not?
So
Yeah.
this commissar's left there trying to protect the relic from Araman and his like chaos warband that he has brought with him. Chaos ensues, if you excuse the pun. That's where all the traps and things are set up. He does along the way manage to join forces with an orc war boss that he finds. And the orc war boss, they find joint hatred in Araman because the orc war boss's plans, as is every year, was to go looting all the presents on this planet, looting all the Sanguinala presents. But now Araman's ruined that as well because he's causing all this fuss.
What a party pooper.
So the war boss and the commissar join forces to go and set traps, and they're trying to foil Araman's plans basically. And obviously the commissar gets the relic at the end of it. Araman's sent home with like an iron mark on his face or whatever happened in Home Alone.
Gets his head burnt by a torch.
And it ends with the orc war boss managing to still loot all the presents and everything, so everyone's happy. That's the basic gist of my
Come on, who's
my
playing
film. The cast. We have
This better be good, Joe.
Eisenhorn's at the start. Eisenhorn. Tom Hardy.
I mean, fair play, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that,
All
yeah.
right.
Cavill's the obvious one, but Tom Hardy, I think. I like the idea of Eisenhorn actually being quite short. I think that would be funny. And
He's
then
not the
Tom Hardy's
tallest.
there.
He's not the tallest. I mean, you compare his miniature to Primaris, he's pretty small.
Exactly, yeah.
there
So
you go.
Tom Hardy there, he's
And he's
like
fine cast.
5'6" or whatever he is. Tom Hardy as fine cast Eisenhorn. Unpainted. No green stuff.
You know in Team America World Police where they have Matt Damon and he just looks a bit droopy?
Yeah.
He's got loads of vents.
I'm going to
stuck
save
him.
Araman till the end because he's a returning favourite.
All right, okay.
From my last pitch. The duo of the commissar and the orc war boss, I am now going for for the commissar. I'm going Channing Tatum because I think Channing Tatum. But I want him in 21 Jump Street mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of silly.
name
Not
is
Magic
Jeff.
Mike.
No,
Channing
Yeah.
Tatum.
no.
I want the vibe to be, how did he ever get to be a commissar?
So
Yeah.
basically, and this is for anyone that reads a lot of the Black Library books, he's Cypher's Kane, basically. Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but
It's
that'll
a
do.
commissar. Yeah. In the comments, if you agree, let me know. But yeah, he's basically Cypher's Kane.
Okay,
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah.
That is what I wrote down, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Cyphers
Yep.
Oh, there it is. I can see it. I can see it. Yeah.
You're
My
welcome.
orc war
You're welcome,
boss.
Joe. Yes.
My orc war boss that he joins forces with.
Oh, I know where this is going. I know where this is going.
You don't.
Okay.
You think you do. You think you do. You think it's going to be Jonah Hill.
Adjacent to where you think it's
That
You
would have been
You said
great,
the
by the
duo,
way.
and you said 21 Jump Street. I was going Jonah Hill.
You think it's going to be Jonah Hill. It could be Jonah Hill. However, in this sort of role, Jonah Hill actually kind of annoys me, I think. When he's
Okay.
trying to be too goofy,
Right.
doesn't work.
You want like super bad Jonah Hill.
Yeah, but even that, but he's not the goofy one necessarily. He doesn't know he's being goofy.
Exactly. You need
know
a
what I mean? So
natural.
it doesn't really work. So I'm going for adjacent to that. I'm going for Danny McBride. Now I don't know if you know who Danny
Yes.
McBride
Yes,
is.
I
off the
know.
top of your
Yeah.
head.
He's a cool. Yeah.
Kenny Powers. He's
Yeah.
in that little crew.
Hot Tub Time Machine and
Hot Tub Time Machine, all that sort of stuff. I think Danny McBride as an Orc War boss is going to work.
I think
Originally,
that-
I had Danny
Yes.
DeVito, which James also picked.
Great minds.
Have Danny DeVito and Channing Tatum been in the same movie before?
No, but I paid to watch that.
Surely. Why haven't they been?
Well, they were about to be. Araman. Araman is a returning favourite for me. You remember I cast, he's actually a bit more of a name now than when I cast him. So I think I actually kind of scouted him in a way. But you'll remember I cast in my previous film pitch Walton Goggins as my thing. He's since been in Fallout.
Yeah.
Everyone loves him.
Yeah.
And now he's Araman. He's got the face. He can do Zinch
He's
stuff.
a good bad
Yeah.
So I
guy.
can
He's a
see
good
that.
bad guy.
Yeah, he looks kind
I
of
can see
evil.
that. Yeah.
I think he'd be a good Araman. Stick a robe on him. Yeah, I think it'd be good.
Wakes him up. Right on him.
pointy headdress.
He's
Yeah.
currently,
Yeah.
he keeps coming up on my TikTok because he's trying to sell goggles.
Is he actually?
Walton Goggins goggles, yeah. That's real. That's
Walton goggles.
Yeah, they're like
Walton goggles.
Walton goggles, Walton Goggins goggles or something like that.
Gog-
yeah, it's like
gog-
sunglasses.
Goggingles.
I think they're like sunglasses.
Goggins.
So yeah, that's my. I had to adjust a little bit last minute there, but that's my pitch.
that's
It's a
fine.
Christmas film though. They're all trying to gather at Sanguinala. They all get to at the end. So, the end of the film.
Ended on a high. Joe, you crushed it.
Exactly.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Overcome, yeah.
Bear Grylls it.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, let us know in the comments who won, first of all.
Who's
Paul?
Competition?
Who's
Paul's the only one who
Paul-
actually had a full.
Yeah, Paul had a script. Like, come on.
Actually, I think kind of you, because yours is fully Christmas.
We'll let the
Yeah.
listeners decide. We'll let the listeners
No,
decide. Let
hang
us know
on.
in the comments.
Actual Christmas.
he just
movie.
reskinned something without any kind of change at all.
Yeah. That's Hollywood, baby.
Fair play. You win, George.
What are some other ones that were like on your consideration list? I don't know about you. I was sitting there scratching my head trying to think of the perfect movie to pick, the perfect reskin.
All I'm going to say is like mashing Christmas and Warhammer together. Like last time we did it, it was just a generic film, whereas this time it's like Christmas.
A bit more focused.
So yeah, a little bit. Like so, like trying to find something which worked wasn't easy. I obviously pulled an easy card just doing Home Alone because it's stereotypically one of.
Well, you say it's easy card. But,
I was going to go for Die Hard because that is again
Classic
could have been.
I can't
Christmas
remember what
movie.
we actually did.
Hans
Like, I know it
Gruber.
wasn't.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't Christmas last time, but what did we actually do
Mine-
last time? So yours was
Mine was the Barbie movie.
and mine
Barbie
was,
movie.
Yeah.
mine was Bill and Ted. And then James's was completely. James's was just a Warhammer story.
Mine
that
was just a
that
Warhammer
he'd
story.
pulled,
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would you have cast as John McClane in Die Hard?
Oh, that's a good one. We're gonna have to get the commenters involved in this as well.
Well, no. What
As a
Warhammer character
Yeah.
first? What Warhammer character would have been the John McClane?
I'm going to stick
character?
with what I said. I think
Slime
Slime
Arbo.
Arbo. Yeah, definitely.
And then, outside of who you did cast, who would you have cast in the Die Hard
In a
situation?
Die Hard situation.
Yeah, crawling through guttering and conduit.
Current. Let's go current.
It's going to be like a Cat-chan sort of guy.
No, who's the guy? Who's the guy?
That's what we were saying.
Who's the
He
guy
would
who
still be
plays?
Slime
So who's the
Arbo.
guy who plays like all the London has fallen, like New York has fallen? Who's that guy?
Gerard
Liam Neeson.
Butler.
Gerard
Butler.
Yeah,
Gerard
yeah, yeah. I did Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
He's got a pistol
Yeah.
sellotaped to his back.
Yeah, he could. I mean, yeah, he's done 300. So
Yeah.
he's
Three.
Well, hang on. If you go in that route, Morgan Freeman's got to be in there.
for
What,
doing
crawling
what?
through
From
conduit?
his-
He's from Olympus Has Fallen.
But what?
Yeah,
what
but
would
what
he?
character did he play in Die Hard? He could. Morgan Freeman could play the. All
the oxygen just left the room.
He could play the. Who's the limo driver?
Oh yes!
Yes, who's the limo driver.
He's
He
sat
played
there
limo-
waiting, isn't he, with the music blaring
could
the whole
play- he could
time.
play
But
limo driver.
it goes two ways, doesn't it? Because you need to
Yeah.
come up with what 40k character is the limo driver, and then it's Morgan Freeman playing it.
Oh, I don't know.
It would just be like a little servo thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Morgan Freeman
The
as
servitor.
Yeah.
Servitor.
Yeah, but then
Morgan Freeman
doesn't have personality then.
Morgan Freeman as a servo.
You'd have someone adapted to fit
Well, no,
in
it's
the
however
vehicle.
it's programmed, right? So this one's programmed to
To be Morgan Freeman.
To party. To party in the Rhino.
I mean, in fairness, all of these technically possible, right? Because our, Warhammer universe is our universe.
Yeah.
So all of these things did exist at one point.
Yeah.
So
True.
there could be
Mm.
a commissar somewhere who's just like a massive fan of Home Alone. Maybe he's in the situation of my one. He goes, I remember watching
Yeah.
this film, and then watching this ancient film of this kid who pulled loads of pranks on the people they were trying to
Burgle
rob.
his house.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, it
I-
could happen.
I did strongly consider the Christmas episode of Mr. Bean. He gets the big turkey on his head.
Oh, yeah.
And he loses his watch inside it as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's strolling around and he buys the wrong gift for his girlfriend.
I think
and
if
things like
any, I know I said it already, but I think like Cypher's Kane would do perfect. as
I'd
Mr.
tell-
Bean.
that. I don't know who would be the actual real world. Who would play that? part.
I mean, Rowan Atkinson is Mr.
I suppose
Bean.
you
You
Yeah,
can't.
who
You
else
couldn't
could-
not.
who
You
else
couldn't.
could play-
You couldn't
Yeah.
not have him as.
Who else could play Mr. Bean like
Yeah.
now? Like no one.
No one.
No one.
No,
Yeah.
Nobody.
It's too specific, isn't
Yeah.
it? I
I'd
did-
argue Rowan Atkinson's still in his prime.
I don't know about Prime.
I bet you put him in front of a camera. and
If you were
tell him to
casting
be
him
Mr.
as a servitor, then yeah, definitely.
What's the last film he'd been in? When's the last time
Bean. I
you
don't
saw
know,
him?
he's still
in
knocking
anything?
around though. He's at the Formula One all the time. Isn't he?
Johnny English. It was Johnny English, wasn't it? It was
Johnny
English.
English,
Yeah, it was Johnny
They keep on
English.
making sequels for Johnny English,
I
unfortunately.
suppose the most recent one of that wasn't that long ago. So yeah, you can
Yeah.
still kind of.
But then when I watch Johnny English, I just think it's Mr. Bean playing 007.
it's like
Oh my God, can we-
alternate universe, Mr.
I don't
Bean.
think
Hear
so.
me
I
out.
think-
Hear me out. Warhammer Johnny English.
Maybe.
Well, Johnny English is already like a spoof.
We're
though,
gonna
right?
we're gonna spoof it up, right? So it could be like an Inquisitor, all right?
No, he's got to be in it. Yeah,
But it's a bit of a fool.
yeah.
What it sounds like, it should be.
Cypher's
Cypher's-
Kane. It should be Cypher's Kane.
Yeah, Cypher's
Mr. Bean
Kane.
as Cypher's Kane would be amazing. Or I say Mr. Bean.
Well, let's
Rowan Atkinson.
let's cross the streams with that, and then we'll do a Johnny English remake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that could work.
I think the most
the
recent film he's
Warhammer
been in-
crime books are really good as well. So
Yeah.
that could.
Wasn't it called The Bee or something? He had
Yeah.
to babysit someone's house
That was like a
sit for
Netflix
something.
thing. I think.
Yeah. And then a bee, and the whole film is him just trying to squash a bee or something.
I think it's a
And
series.
he ends up wrecking the massive house.
I did
that
think
just-
of like
Man versus Bee, I think it was called.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
this is like probably not one for George because it came out pre 2005, and he seems
Before
to
he was
act
born,
like anything like that.
Okay, first of all,
So did Elf. So did
Elf was like
yeah.
2003.
Yeah, so did Elf. The Vicar of Dibley Christmas special.
Oh my God.
The Vicar of Dibley Christmas special where she has all the dinners.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yes.
potentially some kind of grot trick in to go and get loads of different dinners.
That'd
or
be,
something.
that'd
that'd
be
be
quite
good.
cool,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
So I
could
was
work.
thinking classic Christmas film. The other one I thought was does anyone remember? George, you probably won't. The Snowman.
The Snowman.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
That's just like a little musical
Oh,
short.
that's older
thing,
than all
isn't
of
it?
you, isn't it?
That was a
It's
what?
definitely
Sorry?
older than me.
I remember it as a kid. I had it on VHS.
I just when Homer just merges
It's
into
about
the
5
head.
minutes long, isn't it? I thought it was like
not-
a little short.
Hey, you can put anything on VHS.
I thought it was like a little short.
yeah.
I think it's 20 minutes.
I had it
isn't
on VHS.
It was 1982.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it predates you.
4 years later, I was born.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, like I said earlier, I just go like Homer going back into the hedge.
Yeah.
I think, what was it, 1982?
Yeah, 82.
I was 5.
Oh, you're prime age for the Snowman. Then,
Yeah.
probably.
And no, I hated it. I thought it was rubbish. I hated it. It was terrible.
I watched it as a kid.
Yeah, no, I didn't. But then I was like,
I remember them making us watch that at school, and it was like traumatizing.
why?
To be fair, the reason I thought of the Vicar of Dibley thing is because we watched that at school like every year, every like RE lesson for Christmas.
Why was
like,
RE was always like
just stick
the,
with Vicar of Dibley?
Yeah.
It's
That's
fine.
close enough, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
just stick
yeah,
like.
got a vicar in it.
Yeah.
Whenever you did something weird at school, it was like, yeah, it was in
I think
RE.
next,
Yeah.
next time if we do the film thing, let's not overlay it with Christmas. I think you get a much better result when it's not
absolute Scrooge over there. Oh my God. Right?
Scrooge.
Muppet.
Could the
Specifically,
Grinch have
hear me
worked?
out,
Could the
hear me out.
Grinch have worked in any way?
That probably could have worked. Hear me out.
I kind of tied it in where he was stealing the presents. It was
Yeah.
like Grinch-esque.
I want Muppets Christmas Carol, specifically Muppets, because you could still have Michael Caine, right,
Yeah.
as some sort of I don't know what Warhammer character he is yet. You might have to help me out with that.
Abaddon.
Servitor.
That's good. That's good. We're on to a winner there. Kind of looks like I can see that.
Yeah.
Right. And then all of the Muppets could just be like little Nurglings and like little goofy
But they're
characters.
still puppets in this making of the film.
Yeah.
God, can you imagine Muppet?
We're not going to show. We're not going to use real
Nurglings.
Nurglings to make the movie. That'd be dangerous.
Muppet Nurglings.
If they're trained,
Yeah.
if they're trained, you can get away
We
with
should have
it.
like little Warhammer Muppets.
Yeah, that could
We
work.
need that in our lives, don't we?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think-
Well, they made the plushie, like the Sassy Nurgling plushie.
True.
Oh, I tell you what. There you go. That's a Christmas movie. 40k one.
The Sassy Nurgling.
40k Jingle All the Way, and the present or toy is Sassy Nurgling.
Oh, yeah, so it's still set in present time.
Yeah.
Just
I watched Jingle All the Way the other weekend because you guys was like really mad at me that I hadn't seen it before. That film is
No,
mental.
we weren't mad that you didn't watch it. We just couldn't believe you hadn't watched it.
Number one, don't lump me in with that. I don't care. I'm not particularly passionate about Jingle All the Way. I just remembered it.
Come on, Joe. I know you love Turbo
Unlocked a
Man.
memory.
And
You love Turbo Man, Joe, come on.
I used to like it when I was a kid. I was about
Turbo Man.
I must have been like 4 or 5 when that came out. So I liked it when I was a kid as well. But
That film is categorically insane.
I think George's line was probably like when they didn't just order the toy online.
Yeah.
He was like, "What? What's all this about? Why don't you just go on
go to a
Amazon?
shop.
It's
Amazon
easy."
next day.
Yeah, it's easy.
Oh, well, there you
Didn't
go.
happen, did it?
Okay.
Did you have any other
other
secondary
ideas?
pictures?
No, for me, when I think Christmas movie, I think Elf. I was beeline.
Like it.
Well, I knew someone. I was like,
Not
someone
it.
else would do Die Hard. Die Hard seemed like the
We
obvious
didn't do-
40k
no one did-
adaptation, and no one did it.
Yeah, no one did it.
But I will say, hot take, Die Hard.
Don't you dare
It's
say
all
that.
right.
Don't you dare.
Oh.
It's all right.
Don't you dare try. Everyone was about to rage in the
Die Hard's
comments.
good. Die Hard
Die
is
Hard
legitimately
is-
good.
Overrated. It's fine.
You can't say Die Hard's overrated and sit there and
Defend
love Elf.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, George.
One of the most
George,
overrated films.
Are you still not feeling the grilling that you got last week? I mean, like,
Unfortunately for me, I see the YouTube analytics. I know the demographics of who listens to the podcast. That will not go down well.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make a stand for the 5 of you who are under the age of 25
if
that
you're,
listen.
I don't know. I could maybe get on board with it being overrated just because of how much people love it.
That's
But
what
it's
I'm
good.
getting at.
It's good.
All
That's
I'm
what
going
I'm
to
saying.
say is if you're, and this is specifically to the viewers and listeners, if you're sitting there stuffed full of food after your Boxing Day lunch, and you want to rage at George in the comments for saying that Die Hard's underrated, you have
Overrated.
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 It's definitely not underrated. It's definitely not underrated.
You have another reason right there to be triggered and to give George what for in the comments.
There's an outtake that may or may not be out yet. I think we're going to do like a outtakes episode. But I was talking about Die Hard after I'd just seen it, and Paul was livid. Paul was livid. Oh, they did that, didn't they? Didn't they do Twins?
They did Twins,
Wasn't
yeah.
that- Oh, yeah.
They've remade that, haven't they? Now it's called something else useless. They can't make up their own ideas for movies for anymore, or just copy something from the 80s, 90s, and noughties. Good lord! Right, watch Die Hard again.
That's got to be an outtake. That's got to be an outtake.
You haven't seen Die Hard.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Didn't rate it.
It was all right. It was
Absolute heresy.
Okay, I'm not going to get upset about it. Let's
Absolute-
just move this along.
Do you want to learn how to become a better miniature painter, improve your skills, and have the best looking army on the tabletop? Well, now you can with the Siege Studios Patreon. You'll gain instant access to our catalogue of over 350 easy to follow step-by-step tutorials covering a huge variety of colour schemes, painting styles, and techniques, with everything from beginner-focused foundation tutorials to full character masterclasses. Plus, with the team adding new lessons every single week, you'll never run out of techniques to learn or skills to improve. And if that's not enough, you also get access to our critique clinic, where you can get video feedback from us on your miniatures with advice on how to progress your painting, so you'll always know what to work on next and see improvements as fast as possible. So if you're ready to take the next steps in miniature painting, head to patreon.com/Siege Studios or check the link in this episode's description. Should we move on to our final weekly tradition of the podcast, which is, of course, Hobby Hacks. Rounding out our final hobby hack of the year, I thought it'd be nice to rebuttal. Is that the word?
Rebuttal? Is that what?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Someone from Discord asked for a hobby hack specifically.
Rebuttal would be like going against what they say and,
Okay.
and answering for yourself, basically. I
Well, we'll
think.
find out depending on the answer.
Okay, yeah. Potential rebuttal incoming.
God, we need a holiday.
It's been a long week. Don E.
It's Monday.
It's been a long week when this comes out.
Don E on Discord says, howdy. Question for maybe a future hobby hack if you have a good method. I can't figure out a reliable way to line up holes for pinning models. I've tried paint dots, but they're not perfectly flush and it doesn't work well. Having issues with both resin and metal.
Don't look at me. I haven't got a clue.
Has you tried putting varnish on it?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I've got this one.
This doesn't come up a lot this day and age, I feel. Maybe it's just because I mostly do
What, the
GW
pinning?
models. Yeah.
I pinned that one.
Yeah, I think it comes up. It's not only metal models, is it? That you
That-
need to pin.
I guess so.
Like it's-
Yeah, I've that's got like 4 pins in it.
I don't think
things don't do a lot of
Five
pinning.
pins in it.
I feel like I don't do a lot of pinning. I feel
I
like
do
it's always
loads.
normally strong
I
enough.
do loads of
That's
pinning.
because you've got a little hand
It's because
drill.
you use a pin vise.
If you had a power tool, you'd be drilling.
Yeah,
You'd be
whenever
pinning everything, mate.
Oh.
but they're always for my sub-assembly
Mocking the
pins
size
for
of his
holding
tool.
stuff. They're not for like strength. They're
Huh?
not for
It's
rigidity.
because you don't do a lot of reposing and stuff like that. Probably.
Yeah, he's straight out of the box, isn't he?
Straight out of the box,
He's straight out of
yeah.
the box, glue it together.
Johnny Carbon copy.
Whack a coat of paint.
Yeah.
All right, James.
painted a
I'm guessing-
So yeah, I do pin a lot of stuff. I like to make stuff look different, as in not straight out of the box. I always have done.
George.
And it's quite convenient that I've done this one. So yeah, that's got like 5 pins in it, like for different parts, like the sword, the banner, the donker, the arms,
The official term.
the power donker. Yeah. And
That gives you a +1 for your
Oh,
gaming.
6. Sorry, what about the flame on the base? That's pinned as well.
Oh yeah, that's a visible.
That's
pin,
a visible
that.
pin. Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit of critique.
No, it's
No,
SV.
no,
No, that's an
it's
SVP. That's an
utilised.
SVP, strategically visible pin.
Yeah, he's utilised the pin as part of the model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that case.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's become
the,
one.
It's the like.
yeah. Don't be
the
don't be
handle.
Okay. All right, all right,
don't be
all right.
donking the SVP.
Yeah, don't be jealous, George.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I was just saying, me and Paul didn't get custom models.
there
True.
wasn't a model off the shelf that fit with his army. He's got every character for Dark Angels, so I had
What
to,
else
I had
you
to
like?
make one off.
You got to do is buy more
You
models. so
ungrateful!
you've got
Ungrateful!
You're on the naughty list
Brilliant in the
next year.
comments. Yeah.
So how do you line this stuff up?
The first thing is to set the main hole that the part is going to connect to, because that's what you want to look natural. So I would drill into that. So like on the hand for like the sword, I drilled in the center of the hand first, so that way I could then line the sword up correctly with the hand. Do a notch right in the middle with a knife. You can use a sharp one of George's posh blades or whatever if you want, or a good old Stanley does it. A good, whatever.
Good old Stanley.
Stanley.
Good old rusty.
As long as it's sharp
rickety
and can make a
box
notch, that's all
cutter.
that matters.
So this is in this instance, a sword part has got a hand on it already. You're joining at the wrist.
Yeah,
Is
you
this
can-
what
it's
we're doing?
either-
So there's
either-
an arm with
there's
no
an
hand,
arm with no hand.
and there's a
You're gonna
part
drill-
of the sword with a hand on
Exactly. You're going to drill perfectly in the center of the wrist. So
Of the
that
arm.
Of the
On the
arm,
arm
yeah.
part.
And then obviously what I do is I'll get a bit of pin, I'll put that into the actual hole, and then with my clippers, I'll cut it so that what's left in the arm is the sharp bit.
Exposed.
Well, not exposed, it's also the sharp bit. So
Right.
what I mean by that is when you use clippers, you've got the flat facing of the clippers, and you've actually got where the two blades connect, and where they connect, it will create a sharp point on the actual pin. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So what you're leaving in, so if you glue the pin into the hand, you will then leave the sharp bit as the bit sticking out of the model.
Yeah,
Does that
so
make
that's
sense?
the bit that's exposed.
Yes, that's the bit exposed. The beauty of that is that when you get the other part and you connect that, as long as you've left not loads of pin, but enough that it fits onto and holds the part, you can almost perfectly connect the two parts together. And that's where, just with pressure and holding the parts together, the sharp bit of the pin will make a notch.
So is the hack
I
kind of
see.
within that then? Don't make the pin too long.
Yeah.
So don't overdo it. You don't
I
need
think-
like a massive pin hanging out
Well,
of the
there's
arm.
two parts.
I
The
would say
first bit,
the key is
cutting it.
is the length of the pin.
The length
'cause that's
of the
what
pin
I would get
and
wrong.
cutting it as well.
But the cutting it in the way that forms the point is something I've never.
Yeah, because the thing
thought
is,
of.
most people will use clippers and they'll use the flat side that will make a flat part of the pin, which is
Well,
fine.
it depends if your clippers are single-edged or double-edged, I guess. Because some of them are two blades,
Yeah.
and some of them are flat bit and then a blade.
Yeah, that's if you glue the pin into the part. What I I've always done as a golden rule with regards to pinning is yes, doing it that way is fine that I just explained, but I actually always notch both parts in the center. So I will actually spend more time making sure that a lot of people go, oh yeah, well, if I put paint on the pin and then I touch the part, the paint on the pin will then make the mark. That's all well and good. But as long as your pilot holes are drilled perfectly central, you should be fine. You should be fine.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a really awkward part. I
the
guess,
hardest, the reason why the notch in the part is so important is because obviously when you drill it, whether you use a pin vise or whether you use a drill or whatever, like if the notch that you do the pilot hole is not drilled perfectly central, that's when you have problems. Like some of the bits, like for example, the donker on there, okay, the handle of it, where it touches the hand, there's a pin that goes from the hand into the rod of the donker. So you need to drill perfectly central with a drill or pin vise in that rod. And the only way you're going to do that is carefully by having a notch that's perfectly centered. So making the notch or the mark where the drill bit bites into perfectly centered is actually the most crucial thing. So I'd actually advocate to anybody, you can either do it that way and do one bit of pin with a pointed bit left, and then that makes a mark to sort of help, or just with a sharp knife, do the notches perfectly central on both opposing parts, and you should have no problems at all whatsoever. You shouldn't be scared about pinning. Pinning's like really like converting. It's almost like a forgotten art. I don't want to say a forgotten art, and I'm not looking towards you, Paul, because you're obviously the similar sort of age to me, but like,
you remember back in the day?
Yeah.
Converting?
Like, converting.
We had to build everything from scratch.
Converting for me is like such a fun part of Warhammer, like and actually just making models. And yeah, especially nowadays where a lot of the models are a little bit more restricted or limited in posing, and you do end up with a box that looks very similar to somebody else's once it's made following the instructions, etc. Yeah, you can change a shoulder pad or a head or whatever, but I actually really like making the models a bit more unique for yourself, if that makes sense.
You know that scene in Interstellar where the shuttle's trying to dock with the spinning space station?
Yeah.
And that's how I pin stuff together. It's like,
do you run at it from the other side of the room with a pin vise? Yeah.
Everything's spinning, I'm dizzy.
Yeah. But no, to drill both pilot holes perfectly central, and then you shouldn't have too much of an issue with parts connecting and looking natural. I think that's one of the things I would say. So,
I always find it difficult when you put in like an arm onto the shoulder part, because you've got two flat surfaces and trying to get the middle to line up. So you put the pin in and his arm's up here, so you think,
that's it. To get the holes perfectly central in those parts, and then you know factually that when the parts line up, they'll be exactly.
I think even with, obviously in most cases it's going to be perfectly central, but George mentioned some connections are a little bit weird. But I think even if even if you take out of it being perfectly central, and then the idea is just where it needs to be, like that's what you need to spend the time into, right? Is placing the
rather than just sort of picking a random spot.
Yeah.
And then going, I'll let the paint line it up on the other part.
Yeah, and that thing with the clipper as well is as in you using the clippers the other way around, so that rather than having a flat cut, you have a sharp cut.
Yeah, I never even really thought about that.
It's really
And
helpful.
also, like if you've got a pin, rather than just cutting it like smack dab like that, do it at a bit of an angle, and then you're gonna have like a bit more of a spear.
Yeah.
That's a good idea,
Because I'll do that sometimes as well, because you might find that if you cut something perfectly flat, if your clippers are a bit blunt, it'll make a bit of a burr on the end.
Yeah.
And then if your drilled hole is like, say, exactly the size of the pin, it doesn't want to go in because the end is kind of technically wider, if that makes sense.
A little bit, yeah.
Whereas if you always cut your pins at a slight angle, you've always got like a bit of a chamfer. And it guides it in.
That helps. Yeah. It's good.
Such wise words from a young man.
Yeah.
On that note then, because we're all itching to hear Paul's screenplay, I think, we're going to jump over now to the post-show, which is a benefit for our patrons. So if you want to get extended versions of the podcast completely ad-free, check the link in the description of this episode. You'll also get some other cool benefits. Otherwise, we look forward to seeing you January 6th for our first Monday episode 2025.
The screen is dark. A slow, gravelly.
Gravely. Can someone get me someone who can act, please, or read?
Petrus. Another day, another 1,000 requisition forms. I wish something exciting would happen for once. The camera pans to a mysterious weathered crate on his desk.
Lord, what can it be?
Petrus screaming, "What have I done?"
Why does Simon Pegg sound like that?
I don't know. You said he was a child, so I'm kind of a bit.
Yeah.
Have you ever met a child before?
No.